Hi, I'm Randy Wooden, and welcome to another In Our Edge Library series, this time talking to military folks in transition. And that question comes up sometimes about what did you make in your last position, or what is your salary history? Now let's face it, in many cases you've already had to divulge that information either on an online application or perhaps even on a handwritten on a paper application. But let's assume now that that hasn't been the case, and you're actually now seated in front of the employer and they ask you that question. Now, if that happens, you've got an easy answer. I mean, let's face it, if you're fresh out of the military, this is going to be your first job, then obviously you're coming from an entirely different surrounding, a different compensation, all sorts of benefits are different. So that becomes an easy question, almost like it would for the college student who is about to embark in their first job out of college, where perhaps maybe they've delivered pizzas or something like that. So if you truly are just now emerging from the military or still in the military, and this will be your first position outside, then I think it's pretty easy just to say, when they ask you, well, what did you make in your current or most recent position? You want to say, well, certainly it was as a whatever the grade you were. Then you could say that that's an entirely different industry, and I'm looking to make a transition, and I realize that I need to certainly be flexible as I approach that. But you can give them a range as to what you used to make, and that's typically that sort of stuff is also available. I mean, they can easily enough find that out as well. So give them that information, but clearly make it understood that you are making a transition from military to civilian, and with that will come a difference in perhaps pay, benefits, and such. I mean, with the military, some excellent healthcare benefits, and some other things that perhaps in some other private sector gigs you're not going to find. Now, let's say you are out of the military and been out maybe a year, 2 years, that sort of thing. You've been out a little bit. You've held a job. Maybe it's not a great job, but it's a job. And they ask you, what did you used to make in it? Then I think what you want to do is to tell them that you're paid fairly given the scope of the duties and your experience, but that this is a different position and certainly we'll be able to work something out. That's the green light. You dodge the question, don't give them a number, turn around and change the topic. Yellow light would be to say I was paid based on what I did. It was fair given the scope of the duties and my background, and I'm sure we'll be able to work something out. I'm sure you've got a range in mind too for the position. Could I ask what that is? So now hopefully you'll hear a little bit about what they're willing to pay. And the red light is to give them a range. Tell them what it was that you made. It was in the 30s, in the 40s, in the 50s, whatever that number happens to be, that's what you want to give them. It doesn't benefit you to give them a very, very specific number. The reason is that that's that line in the sand issue again, and people kind of get fixated on a specific number. What you want to do is to give them a little bit broader range. In fact, you could say that in my last 2 years in the military, my overall compensation has ranged from this range to that. See? So you can put a little wiggle room in there. The whole idea here is to push the ball forward, to get to the end of the interview, to get the offer, and not to get screened out because you're too high or too low early in the interview. That's going to wrap it up for this In Our Edge Library series, talking to military transitioning folks and dealing with that salary history question. How do you handle that? I'm Randy Wooden. Thanks for watching.